What motivates me the most is the fact that I'm a third generation hospitality. And my grandfather and my father were both pastry chefs, and I really wanted to use their passion that they passed down to me, because hospitality is really in my blood, but I wanted to find my own way in this industry, and so that's why I picked cookery.
For me, being a chef means bringing happiness to customer. I really feel that what chef industry should be about.
I love cooking because it allows me to express my personality and creativity on a plate. I have the opportunity to experiment with flavours and techniques.
I'm rewarded each day in the kitchen, knowing that I'm adding something special to people's lives.
My most memorable colouring experience so far would be winning a gold medal with the Australian youth team in Germany.
The best piece of advice I've been given is that a chef does not produce an amazing dish once, but a chef produces an amazing dish consistently, time and time again. What do you think, guys? Oh, I like this bit.
That's really good.
Hello everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today. Today we'll be showing you the incredible opportunities that are available for students who are considering a career as a chef. Now we will be hearing from Giles and Alessio, the winners of last year's Nestlé Golden Chef's Hat Award competition, Karen Doyle, the National President of the Australian Culinary Federation and Program Director of Le Cordon Bleu in Sydney, and finally Mark Clayton, who is the Nestlé Professional Executive Chef and also the Program Director for the Nestlé Golden Chef's Hat Award competition. Now, for those who don't know, the Nestlé Golden Chef's Hat Award is Australia's longest running culinary competition for young chefs. It provides a vital platform for the next generation of chefs to showcase their culinary skills and enhance their career development. As part of the Nestlé Needs YOUth Program, it is an experience like no other. It offers the opportunity to connect and learn with a national network of inspirational professionals and to build a lasting network for young chefs. Here's a quick look at the highlights from last year.
Your time starts now. Nestlé Golden Chef's Hat Award, this is the finals. It's come down to these guys here. Count with me now. 3, 2, 1. Great work, team. Well done to all the contestants here today.
2019 national winners are Team New South Wales Metro.
Thank you to the ACF, thank you to Karen Doyle, our president. Thank you to Nestlé, the organisers, the social media team, everything. It's been an absolute unreal experience.
Well, didn't that look amazing? And I'm now pleased to say that we are joined by last year's winners, Giles and Alessio. Thank you so much for joining us today. Can you tell us why you decided to get into a career as a chef in the first place?
My family's always been involved with food. Like none of my family are chefs, but they've always had a keen interest in cooking, and I've always been surrounded by cooking, especially with both my parents. My dad loves baking, and my mom actually like loves to cook, especially for other people. And I think that was probably one of the most inspiring things for me growing up. Just like going to all these family gatherings, my mom's always like providing all this wonderful food. And then when it got to like year 11 and 12, when all of our teachers and all the coordinators were like, all right, you kind of need to decide what you really want to do. I think in the back of my mind, chefing was always there. It's like I tried other career pathways. Like I was really interested in journalism and accounting. But I think once I actually started like vet hospitality in year 11 and 12, that's where I really fell in love with it. And then once I hit my senior year in year 12, that's when I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go 110%. And I never looked back.
With me, I guess it's a bit different. My family have been in the hospitality industry for 20 plus years in Australia, being business owners. And since a young age, from 13, I've always been in the kitchen, started washing dishes and always working with my parents' company, my parents' business. During my studies, I finished high school, I went to university, and then it was just full circle. I was always working in the shop. I just decided to come back to the kitchen And my passion was always there. And I had to try other things before deciding that. And I've never looked back since.
And so what would you say is your favourite thing about being a chef? What does it mean to you?
I guess for me, the main thing is to be able to provide that experience for other people and to provide, I guess, happiness and joy to those people as well. It's one of the most gratifying things to be able to actually make something for other people and just seeing that smile on their face. It's an indescribable feeling.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we're in the people-pleasing industry. So it's really, really cool. You get to make things from your hands and get to, feed people and make people happy. And that's the most rewarding part. It's really, really humbling. And, you put in all the hours, the hard work, and, the reward for us in that regard is really, really great. So.
And what would you say is the best piece of advice you've been given?
To take advantage of every opportunity thrown your way. If you're coming as a young chef, as an apprentice into a kitchen, soak in every little bit. You're a student to your craft, so you're always, show up every day to continue learning and never stop learning.
I remember walking into my first restaurant job, and my head chef was like, treat every kitchen like you're an idiot. And I was like, wait, what do you mean by that? And he was like, treat it in a sense where you don't know anything about that kitchen. You don't know anything walking into this restaurant.
Blank slate, yeah.
Yeah, complete blank slate. And you want to walk in like a sponge, especially as a young chef, because you have so much to learn and so much to grow. And he was like, take every opportunity for what it is and make sure you never stop learning and make sure you keep treating every kitchen as a blank slate. So you may come out of working from one kitchen, but going into the next kitchen, you need to learn how they work and how they operate.
Everyone's different. Yeah.
Everyone is different and everyone works differently. So you want to be able to kind of adapt and be able to learn off everyone and just always keep an open mind.
Aim to be better than your mentors.
And what would you say is your most memorable culinary moment so far?
Aside from Nestle, that was an incredible experience in itself. I think one of the most memorable ones for me when I was 19, I was actually given the opportunity to go overseas and stage or do work placement at a restaurant in Norway. 3 Michelin stars. It was an incredible experience just to see how they treat food differently, just the way they work. Just seeing that whole perspective change and seeing how minimalistic they are. But in terms of the produce that they got, it's indescribable. It's on a whole another level. The restaurant I was working at, they got all their seafood within a 10-kilometer radius. All their fruit and veg, they managed to forage from the forest, which was like a 10-minute walk. So everything was extremely local, but just the way they treated it it's on another level.
Besides from Nestle, obviously Nestle being an awesome experience for us, just showing up every single day in, day out, you're working 14-hour, 15-hour shifts, and to be able to continuously do it with your team, that your team becomes your family, the people you work with become your family. That's the most rewarding part, and being able to feed people and just do it day in, day out. Cumulatively, that's the most rewarding part for me. That's my highlight, because I get to say I did it. You get to the end of your work week and look back and be like, oh my gosh, that was crazy.
Can you tell us about your experience during last year's Nestle Golden Chef Awards? What was that like?
We worked together. We've worked together for the past 2 years now. We've been friends since we were 13 years old. We found out we were both chefs, so we kind of became closer friends again. We always know about Nestle. It's a very prestigious competition, and it's in pairs as well. So we're like, you know what, give it a shot. We have nothing to lose. So we did it. We just went for it, and then to win the New South Wales Metro comp in itself would have been enough. It was crazy. When the competition began for Nestle, we finished work at 1:30 in the morning. Then we woke up at 5 a.m. the next day to start the photo shoot. In the photo shoot, I have the worst bags under my eyes because I didn't sleep. Other than that, the competition was amazing. The people you meet, first of all, from around Australia, the talent you get to see, the experience when Nestle get to take you out.
Just seeing all the different perspectives of the other young chefs as well.
Yeah.
Just seeing how they manipulated their ingredients differently and just kind of bouncing ideas off of each other. And it was really cool to meet like-minded people, because I feel like the hospitality industry is such a small industry, but we never actually get to meet each other or interact with each other. So to be able to actually meet all of these young chefs within one space, that was probably a really cool thing.
Yeah, and such good people too. We made some lifelong friends. We all stay in touch. They get to take you out, so they get to be on the other side of the kitchen. We went out for some nice dinners. It was really, really, really nice. We never really get the chance to go out that much. So
no, we were truly spoiled.
We cooked on the first day, 2 days of competitions, and then as soon as you finish that last cook, you really get to enjoy the week.
Yeah,
because they really, really spoil all the finalists.
What advice would you give high school students who may be considering a career as a chef?
You have to kind of give it 110%. It's an industry where it does require a lot of your time. It requires a lot of sacrifices.
You never get a weekend off.
No.
It's like give up your weekends. But it might sound daunting saying that, give up your life, give up your weekends. I promise you, putting in all that hard work, the rewards you get afterwards makes it all worth it, and it's such a unique feeling, I get to say that like not many people get to experience what we do. You never know where this career can take you. There's so many roads you can go in the hospitality industry. It's not just being a chef, you can be a business owner, you can just catering, there's you teaching, there's so many things you can do in this industry, which is really, really cool.
And it's an industry where you're always learning. There's always opportunities there. It's like you don't necessarily have to take the pathway of being a chef, like Alessia said. But once you're in the hospitality industry, the opportunities are endless.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, guys. It was really great to chat with you.
Thanks for having
us. Thank you for having us.
So I'm pleased to say that I'm now joined by Karen Doyle from the Australian Culinary Federation. Thank you so much for joining us today, Karen.
Thank you for having me.
So Karen, as an awarded chef with over 20 years industry experience, you are also a familiar face at culinary competitions across Australia and also internationally. Can you tell us a bit about your role as an international and national culinary judge?
I love being out there and seeing the talent, etc., that we have across Australia and internationally, and also being a judge, you get to see the most current trends and what's actually happening in industry. So I'm very fortunate that I'm obviously a national judge for the Australian Culinary Federation here in Australia. So I judge across all of our competitions here internally, plus Lachine and other associations. Internationally, I'm lucky that I've been invited to judge in Vietnam, other countries across the world, Singapore, etc. It also gives me opportunity to support any competitors from Australia who are going overseas, because I can help train, etc., and translate some of that knowledge to our young chefs.
So you're also the national president for the Australian Culinary Federation. Can you explain to us a bit about who the ACF is and what's your role there?
Well, the Australian Culinary Federation, it's the peak organisation here in Australia. It's when we represent professional chefs, cooks, apprentices, and culinary students. So basically, I suppose the ACF, we participate, we advise in the establishment and maintenance of competitions. And I suppose our big aim is to be very involved in the development of professional skills and knowledge of all our members and upcoming members.
You are also a qualified adult educator and program manager for Le Cordon Bleu in Sydney. What advice would you give to students who may be considering this as a career?
I think number one, you need to decide what you're passionate about, what your interest is. If this is a career that you're looking for, you need to look at your communication skills. You need to be a team player. You need to be able to multitask.
Yeah.
Be very good at time management. And I suppose be flexible. That's your main thing, because it is a very, very rewarding career.
What pathways are available to students? Like if there's students out there listening and they want to know more, how should they go about it?
There's lots of pathways currently that have opened up, especially if you're a year 10 student.
Okay.
You can go into year 11 and 12 and either do a TVET course, which is embedded as part of your HSC, and do a Cert 2 in hospitality, commercial cookery or bakery. Or you could go into, at that point, if it's something you really want to do, you could do a school-based apprenticeship, which into that you will start the stage 1 of your certificate 3. So in that you need to do, I think it's 100 days of work-based training during that time. And then you just transitioned into a TAFE course and a full-time apprentice.
Mm.
But obviously with hospitality, there's many pathways. You could be going to be a receptionist, it could be hotel manager, it could be into the HR side. So there are lots of mini pathways. Go to your local TAFE, RTOs. There's a lot of information, and a lot of universities are doing pathways as well into hospitality at the moment.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you so much for joining us today, Karen.
Thank you very much. And good luck to all those kids if you're going to do this. You'll enjoy every moment.
Thanks, Karen.
Thank you.
So now I am joined by Mark Clayton. Mark is the Nestlé Professional Executive Chef. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So Mark, you have been a chef for over 30 years, working at the top end of hospitality in both Australia and the UK. Why do you love cooking? What drew you to food?
Well, I like to joke that it was the only thing I could do. I was useless at everything else, but I guess it was just a natural fit for me. I always did that when I was young. I can remember cooking for my parents before they come home from work, and I would just go in the kitchen and knock something like a cheese souffle or something like that.
No way.
Yeah, I did. So when I think back, I think, who was I? But it was an obvious thing that I just liked to do. So it was a natural fit.
So can you tell us a bit about your career so far?
Yeah, look, I've always chosen to work in sort of top end places. I was very driven and quite ambitious when I was younger, and I always wanted to work somewhere where they were going to show me something I don't already know. So I always worked in top either restaurants, hotels as well, that had a real reputation for food, and that was my sort of tick box. If I was going to take a job, it had to be in that area.
Right, amazing. So, what do you do now? So you're the Nestlé Professional Executive Chef. What does that mean?
So basically what it is, Nestlé Professional got lots and lots of great products which go out to chefs, hence the professional bit. And I just deal with those products either in a training or testing side of things. And I actually really like the fact that it's not the same every day.
Why do you think that becoming a chef is a great career path?
It served me very well. And I think one of the things, I'm English, I came from England. I probably wouldn't have come from England to Australia had I not been a chef. Being a chef enables you to travel pretty much anywhere. I could take this to America, I could take this to Europe, and, after a little bit of just tweaking to get to understand what they do locally, you can actually fit in quite well if you're well trained. So it does enable you to travel. It is a tough business. But I think every business is tough. I think if you actually want to succeed anywhere, I think, there's some things to go through, and it can be a bit tough, and you have to be focused and you have to be driven to be able to do that. So I don't think it's any more so than any other business.
Yeah.
But it's served me well, and it's actually enabled me to even branch off into other areas like I'm doing now, to kind of reinvent myself to become a corporate executive chef, which is something I never even thought of.
And now, can you tell us a bit about the Nestlé Golden Chef's Hat Awards? It looks like so much fun.
Yeah, look, this is probably the most enjoyable part of my job. It takes me around the country. I end up judging alongside the ACF as a food judge every region of Australia to actually do the regional finals, and then we finish off with a massive final either in Sydney or Melbourne. My greatest joy is watching the development of the young chefs. When they come in at the beginning, they're also very nervous and they hardly talk and they hardly talk to each other. To see them at the end of the road once they've gone through into the finals, and the transformation is just, it blows you away. So you can see the value of doing something like that. So it gives me a lot of satisfaction.
So what advice would you give students who are considering this as a career?
I would give them the same advice I was given, because I still live by this today. And it was my first interview in London, and the guy who interviewed me said, building your chef career is like building a pyramid. The wider you build your base, the higher you will go.
Yeah, right.
And that is so true.
Yeah.
So the advice I'd give is don't be in such a rush to become a head chef or, the position, which is very tempting to do because you want the money and you want this and that and the recognition. But don't be in such a rush, because what that does is that stunts your growth and it slows you down later on. So I would always say, take your time, work with good people, really hand pick your people. Don't go there and just be interviewed yourself. Interview them to see whether they meet that criteria. And I think the last thing is know where you want to be. So if you want to be a top restaurant chef, don't go and work in hotels, work in restaurants. Yeah, if you want to be in the corporate environment, get into the corporate environment, but plan where you want to go and then find out how you're going to get there.
That's excellent advice. And I think it's advice that could stem across all different types of careers as well.
It's exactly right.
Yeah, love it. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Mark. It was awesome
to chat. My pleasure.
Good luck to all of the finalists this year. It's very, very exciting. Make sure you follow their journey via Facebook at Golden Chefs and Instagram at golden_chefs to see who is crowned the winner. If this competition sounds like something you might be interested in, you can email the contacts on your screen for more information. If you have any questions about future careers at Nestle, you can contact Rebecca at explorecareers.com.au. That's me. Thanks so much for joining us.